The idea of just being ourselves always sounds great. It's actually the running theme in a lot of my videos. Just be yourself. We don't need to care what anyone else thinks. We shouldn't need to change for other people. When someone tells us to just be ourselves, it feels like a reassuring hug. But I think it's also important to carry out this advice properly. Being ourselves may not be the all-in-one answer to life and happiness it often sounds like. Most of the time, it's kind of a cop-out. Like, what does just be yourself actually mean? Who we are at 19 is probably pretty far from who we will be at 30. Some of us are still out there finding ourselves. What then? And even if we did know ourselves, what if we don't like who we are? Most of the time, we are not the people we hope to be, at least not yet. For me, even now, as a somewhat measured and stable person in her 40s, when I'm around strangers, I'm still never just me. Most times, people mistake me for an extrovert. I can't help but intuit what the situation needs, and then I morph into a version of me that I think will work best. There's always a better version of me out there I can try on for size. Someone cooler, more positive, more confident, more talented than just me. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this. We're all social chameleons to some extent. We have to be. It's part of our survival skills in society, I think. The tricky part is how far we take it. How much of ourselves do we modify based on the situation? When it comes to stuff like dating, being ourselves is probably for the best. Obviously, it doesn't mean fart and burp on the first date, but it does definitely mean don't lie about your hobbies or how much money you make. Of course, we should dress to accentuate our best features, which is still being ourselves. What we probably shouldn't do though is to skip, say, the shower and the deodorant because, oh haha, that's just me. Or what about the workplace? How far should we be ourselves in front of our colleagues and bosses? When we are challenged, do we stretch the boundaries of our comfort zones? Or do we shy away behind our self-image of who we are and what we can do? Being told to just be yourself can be such a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's so comforting, the idea that somehow if we are just ourselves, the universe is on our side and eventually everything will work out. It's okay for us not to change. We can just be happy how we are. We all categorize ourselves. Stuff like, I'm a creative, I can't do math. Or, oh, I'm just laid back, I want to chill, that's just who I am, yeah. And so on. We all do this. It helps us navigate the world, learning about ourselves versus others, and how the two interact. Thing is, being that person also often becomes a convenient license to coddle ourselves, to sometimes excuse slack behavior, or simply to say no to doing or changing something just because it doesn't feel like me. I'll be the first to admit that I'm definitely guilty of that too. Early financial freedom means our time is ours to spend as we please, and for long periods here and there, I've definitely just spent it just being me. A little of that is really great for mental health. Too much though, and I definitely find myself in a rut after a while. Just being ourselves sometimes means we miss out on many opportunities to grow. Each of us, on any given day, we are all a spectrum of possibilities, from the worst to the very best. Very little is static. Life is a constant process of creating ourselves each and every day. We aren't the same person we were yesterday, and we won't be the same person tomorrow because we learn new things every day and we grow every day. We are shaped so much by the people we surround ourselves with, the experiences we've had, the challenges we choose to take on. We are so much more than just a personality type. Sure, there may be fundamental parts of ourselves that may never change, but the whole package that is you and me is not so much about who we are, but how we choose to take on life and each day we live. Honestly, I almost didn't start this YouTube channel because this was the last thing on earth that felt like me. I'm the least tech-savvy person in my generation. I don't post on social media much. I read more than I watch videos. This really was my husband's idea. 3 years down the road though, I can't believe how far we have come with this channel and the skills and knowledge I have learned now to do all this stuff. When I look back on the journey, it's amazing and so motivating to see how far we have come from day zero. And it gives me so much hope and encouragement for what we can go on to become. I think that's what can happen when we are not just being ourselves and when we try to be better. I guess that when it comes to making meaningful connections with other people, that's when we really need to just be ourselves. We can only forge authentic relationships with others if we behave honestly as who we are deep down inside, so we can find those who will love us for who we truly are. And yes, when it comes to life choices and not fitting square pegs into round holes and the like, it is also only wise to just be ourselves. Outside of that though, the just be ourselves approach needs to be way more nuanced. Yes, we must accept who we are today and have compassion for where in life we are now. But at the same time, we must also have the courage each day to not just be ourselves, but be better. We can take ourselves to new places and push ourselves beyond our comfort zones every day by doing things that definitely aren't us, but which mold us into a newer, better, stronger, more confident version of us. Life doesn't just happen to us. Our lives are happening due to us. It's so empowering to realize that not only do we have the power to change our lives, actually, we are the only ones who do. Us and nobody else. To quote Rumi, when you let go of who you are, you become who you might be. A big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. So even in early retirement with all that free time, we still keep learning all sorts of different and new things all the time. It keeps life zesty and interesting. Vitaly recently bought a pre-loved iPad and Apple Pencil, and just for fun, he's challenged me to take my painting and drawing hobby from traditional mediums like oil and soft pastels into the digital form. Luckily, thanks to Skillshare, it's been so easy to pick this up at my own pace, from the comfort of home through classes like Mimi Chow's Intro to Digital Painting, Procreate to Photoshop, a beginner-friendly guide that's comprehensible even to tech-challenged noobs like me. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creators with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, animation design, and more. Now that summer is here, you may have more free time like me to explore more stuff and keep learning and growing too, and Skillshare is such a great way to make that happen. The first 500 people to click the link in the description will receive 1 month free trial of Skillshare. You can get started immediately with this amazing offer, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, if you liked that video, please help me hit the like button so that the algorithm can share it to other people who might enjoy the video the same as you did. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful for your time and attention, and I hope you guys keep in good health and spirits wherever you are. And I guess I'll see you next video. Bye bye.